All right, there are 9 components of the database environment. Well, first of all, case 2. So most large database management software company provide something called a case 2, computer-aided software engineering tools to help you design databases and application programs. So in Oracle, there's a module called Oracle Designer, which helps you to draw ER diagram. There's also an SQL report that helps you to generate management report so that you don't have to write your own code. In the case of the ER diagram, they actually provide a tool that help you to draw the diagram, and then it will convert the diagram into SQL code for you. So that means that you just have to copy those code into SQL tools, execute it, and then the table structure will be created for you in Oracle database system. Okay, so basically there are a lot of helpful case tools that can be used to help automate the generation of a database system. But of course, you still need to make some decision yourself of how you want the design to look like. Now, repository is a special name for a database that stores only metadata. Now, remember that the database stores data, right? So let's say it's a course registration system. It will store data about multiple tables. One table could be student table, another table could be professor's table, another one could be course table. So these are actually data, right? Data about courses, data about professors, data about students. So all this we store inside a student database. Now, you also need to store data about data, which are the metadata, because the metadata describe what is the meaning of each of the data inside each column of each table, okay? When the metadata is very large, in the case of a database that has hundreds of tables, then we need to store it in a separate database. And that separate database is called a repository, okay? So it's just a special name we call a database because it stores metadata instead of storing data, okay? DBMS, the software to manage the database software, the database itself. You see here, the word database stores data. The database that stores metadata, we call it a repository. So we just give it a different name, that's all, but it is still a database, okay? Application programs, these are the software that will pass requests to retrieve data to the DBMS. The DBMS will retrieve the authorized data to be displayed to the authorized user. User interface, whether you are database analyst, whether you are DBA, whether you are end user, you'll be interacting with the database system through your screen or your monitor on your PC or on your notebook. So that is called the user interface. Database administrator, D, B, and A. So database administrator, for short, we call it DBA. These are the highly technical personnel responsible for maintaining database systems. And system developers and programmers, these are the people responsible for designing and writing the application program that will interface with the DBMS. End user, these are the people who actually use the database system after it has been created. Now, these 9 components can be put together in a diagram that look like this. So 3 types of humans. The system developer will, through the user interface, their computer screen, make use of the case tools. Those are the data modeling and design tools to create application programs and also to create the structure of the database. So therefore, the database structure will be created here. And also because when you create the structure, you also need the metadata. So the metadata will be stored inside the repository, okay? So metadata stored inside the repository, the actual data stored inside the database. And then later on, the end user through the user interface will be allowed access to execute the application programs written by the system developer. And those programs will pass requests to the DBMS to retrieve the relevant data to be displayed on the user interface of the notebook or on the PC, okay? Now, basically everything goes through the DBMS. Notice that no one has direct access to the database. At most, they only have access to the DBMS, and depending on the DBMS, determining the authorization level, who is allowed to see what data, it will retrieve the relevant data to be displayed on the computer screen of the end user. Okay.